that, I will introduce our speaker, the son of an immigrant family from Cuba. New Jersey's senior Senator Robert Menendez was elected to the House of Representatives in 1992, where he served the people of New Jersey's 13th Congressional District for 14 years. He has served the United States Senate for 16 years and more recently, chair of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. During his many, many years in public service, starting from his days in Union City, Senator Menendez has been a great friend to the Armenian community, and that is before he fell in love with and married a lovely Armenian woman. Thank you, Nadine. For decades, he's been strongly backing Armenian genocide resolutions in Congress. His dedication and passion were evident when he delivered his speech for the 4th time on the Senate floor to introduce the Senate resolution to recognize the Armenian genocide. Please join me. Let's show our thanks to the great, honorable senior senator from my state, home state of New Jersey, Senator Bob Menendez.
Thank you, Anita, for that very gracious introduction and for your advocacy and leadership. Your Eminence, Reverend clergy, 1 year ago today, after more than a century of struggle, an American president made history. After more than a century of sidestepping, an American president called the Ottoman Empire's systematic drive to eliminate the American people by its true name. After a century, President Biden called it genocide, and that is what history records it as. He called it genocide because after decade and decade, the knights and daughters of wartime never gave up on the truth, as you never did. He called it genocide because year after year we have come to Times Square to remind the world of this crime. He called it genocide because day in and day out the Armenian diaspora, churches, civic groups, phone banks to the lobby legislators. You wrote letters. Even during COVID, the Armenian Assembly kept up the fight with conferences and seminars over Zoom, and last year Anka sent over 1 million messages advocating for justice. And because of your efforts, my wife Nadine, whose grandfather perished in the genocide, and I gather here with you once again. We remember the victims and honor the survivors of the Armenian genocide. As someone who has long been an advocate for recognizing the Armenian genocide, it is an honor to be with you once again. Even as the Ottomans committed this crime over 100 years ago, they tried to suppress the truth. As they destroyed ancient Armenian monasteries and villages, they renamed them in Turkish. As they promised resettlement for Armenians evicted from their homes, they sent them to the Syrian desert for elimination. As they denied children food and old people water, starving them until they were skin and bones, they threatened to arrest anyone who would supply evidence to foreign embassies. As they piled bodies on the edge of roadways, they prohibited anyone from taking photos. During World War II, Winston Churchill said, "These types of atrocities are a crime without a name." But today, we have a name for what they did to the Armenian people, and that name is genocide. Even now, Turkey not only refuses to acknowledge the truth, it seeks to suppress it. They have spent millions of dollars. I can tell you, as the leader in the Senate on the Armenian genocide, they've spent millions of dollars on PR and political lobbying to deny the past. They have made up excuses, saying the annihilators of the 1.5 million Armenians was the result of World War I. The Turkish government prosecutes writers and historians who speak about the Armenian genocide. The Turkish president even condemned the Pope after a speech in which the Vatican used the term genocide. Politicians who criticize the naming of streets in Turkey after the architect of the genocide received death threats. And journalists who wrote about the genocide have been assassinated on the streets of Istanbul. With these shocking acts, Turkey tries to cover up historical facts, undermining the fundamental right to freedom of speech. There is only one way to deal with these types of threats. It is when we come together, stand up, and tell the truth that cannot be suppressed, that we fight against the Turkish government and all those who would deny the genocide. This is a cause I have cared about deeply. It is a cause that is close to my heart. And I'm proud that even as American leaders and allies stayed silent on this issue, I did not. I have blocked ambassadorial nominees from their positions because of their refusal to call a genocide what it is. I have introduced resolutions recognizing the Armenian genocide since I came to the Senate in 2006. I stood on the floor of the Senate and urged administration after administration, Democrat and Republican alike, year after year, to do what was right. I asked them to acknowledge the past, even as Turkey made threats to close American military bases. I told them we cannot stand idly by as they covered up this crime. I went to the floor of the United States Senate time after time and fought my colleagues who would deny the genocide and not agree to pass the resolution until I shamed them into admitting that which we should admit as part of history. And for the first time, the United States Senate passed the Armenian genocide. That was a great victory. A great victory, but our fight is not over. We have more work to do when Turkey continues its campaign of denials and threats. We have more work to do when a monument to the architect of the genocide still stands in Istanbul. We have more work to do when Azerbaijan launches a war against Artsakh with Turkey's full backing. That war resulted in appalling human rights abuses. And even a year and a half later, Baku still holds scores of Armenian prisoners of war in their jails. These threats to the Armenian people cannot go unanswered. And I, as the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, continue to press this government to make sure that they end military assistance to Azerbaijan, because we cannot have another genocide. In closing, I want us to remember the victims who lost their lives, and also to the bravery of those survivors. They had to swallow their coins to keep the Turks from robbing them. They had to cross mountain passes with their children in their arms. They escaped rolled up in rugs in caravans. They lived in ditches and gutters and safe houses. But they never gave up. And after years of living in the shadows, some made it onto ships and came here to America. where the success of the Armenian diaspora is one of the most extraordinary successes in the history of the United States of America. We must honor their legacy and struggle for survival, even if more than a century has passed. We must fight for the truth, even if dictators prefer silence. We must hold accountable those committing genocide today, even if it takes a lifetime. And if we back up our values with actions and have the courage to stand up for our principles, I believe we will triumph over tyranny. God bless the Armenian people.